Okay, now we are actually going to go ahead and factor. First thing, we have to know where to start putting things. We're going to use the box. Just like when we multiply, we start on the outside of the box, we got to the inside of the box. Now we're factoring, we're going to undo that. We're going to put everything we know in the box and figure out what goes on the outside. The big problem here is I have 1, 2, 3 terms and 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. So the hardest part is going to figure out my peanut values. Top left, bottom right are super easy. We're going to start. Oh, by the way, just a side note, you should always check and see if this is GCF when you start. Check all the numbers, make sure there's no GCF, make sure there's not x cubed squared to the first power there. Okay, now that's over with. Top left box, 3x squared. Bottom right box, minus 5. So first term goes in the top left, last term goes in the bottom. Now, this term in the middle is split between these. These values are going to have to add up to -1. There's a fairly easy way to figure out what that is. This is A, this is B, and this is C. Those are the coefficients. We're going to take, and I'm going to write more of this out than I need just so you see it. We're going to take A times C. A times C in this case is 3 times -5. 3 times -5 is -15. For some reason, I always just like to write it there. -5 times -3, sorry, -5 times 3 is -15. Now we're going to use this 15 to find these values. So we have -15, made that pretty ugly, and we're going to start with 1. 1 times -15. Let's keep going with these factors. Does 2 go into 15? Nope. 3, yes. 3 times -5 is 15. 4 does not. 5. We have not used 5. We've used -5, so we're going to go ahead and go with 5. 5 times -3. 6, 7, 8. Since we've repeated, we know we're not going to hit anything until 15. So 15 and -1. All of those are factors of -15. That's A times a C right here. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at these and figure out where they equal to B. In case you haven't recognized it, B is -1. Okay, after looking at that, that one is not factorable. So I'm just going to make a quick change to the problem and make this a -2x in the middle. I'm guessing when I was typing this up, I just didn't type that in there. Okay. Now, add these up. We're going to add these up. All these up, we're going to add them up. 1 plus -15, -14. 3 plus -5, -2. 5 plus -3, +2. 15 minus 1, +14. We are looking to match B, which is -2. That is this one right here. So we're going to take 3x and put it there, and -5x and put it there. Simply that 3 and that -5 and peanut values have their like terms. Just these two factors where they add up to -2. Now, we are going to, and this is very careful, be very, very careful. I'm going to tell you this in a certain order. We are going to take the greatest common factor right here, and that's the only time we're going to do it. 3x squared and 3x, they have a 3x in common. Yes, that is the greatest common factor we just took out of there. Sometimes your teachers in the past or other teachers that do tutorials will tell you to do the greatest common factor all around. I'm going to tell you not to do that. What I'm going to tell you, once you do it one time, you will then figure out, like the puzzles we did earlier, what the other pieces need to be, and I'll explain this in another problem. It has to do with the problems with GCFs and us always forgetting to do GCFs. So this would be x here, 3, that's a 1 there. To get that -5x, we do a -5, and you check it at the very end. Does it work? 1 times -5, -5, it works. So my factored form is x plus 1, that's this left term, times my 3x minus 5. Again, we factor right here, and the rest we just look and check our values. 3x times x to get the 1, 3x times 1, and figure in those values. And check it at the end. Does 1 times -5 equal -5? We did it right. That is my answer. By the way, to check it, we can multiply this with a box and make sure it gets that.